Philadelphia. Jeff McLane's been wrong, and I think I can prove it to you. I've been obsessed with this since November 21st, which was Jeff McLane's last appearance on 97.5 The Fantatic. I haven't heard Jeff McLane go on 97.5 The Fantatic since this interview, and I've got a follow-up to that after we're done here. But I think just like Jeff McLane missed really bad with Deshaun Jackson and that Chip Kelly offseason where ultimately they cut Deshaun Jackson, Jimmy Kemsky was one of the first reporters, much like Derrick Gunn, to stick his neck out there and say, Deshaun is gone. And you might not remember that exact offseason, but no one believed that Deshaun Jackson was going to get traded, let alone cut. And Jimmy Kemsky kept reporting, this is going to end, this is going to end. And Jeff McLane almost puffing his chest out with great honor and pride saying, oh, Deshaun Jackson is not going anywhere. And I just want you to keep that in mind as I'm telling you this, because I want you to hear what Jeff McLane thought of Derrick Gunn's reporting when this team was 8-2. They are 8-2 at this point. And listen to the tone of Jeff McLane's voice and the facts after this. And I think we need to have a real discussion here, because I'm getting into fights with the Discord because I'm starting to believe all the reports, okay? If you want me to say anything about these last 2 weeks, I have changed my mind on Jalen Hurts isn't an issue. Jalen Hurts is an issue. You and I just don't have an idea of how big it is, and I think Jeff has underplayed what is going on here. So let's just start this. Here is the interview with Kincaid and Salchunas on November 21st when the Eagles are 8-2.
I'm curious because you're obviously entrenched with this team and you know a lot about the inner workings of this football team. I'm sure you see it on social media. There are a lot of people that say that a lot of the drama is media driven, or we just make it seem worse than it actually is, or let's just choose to ignore it because they're 8-2, which I believe that last one makes sense. They're 8-2. They find ways to overcome it. So I will ask you, Jeff, with all the drama that there is it so drastic to the point where it needs to get fixed as soon as possible? Or do you think the drama is a little overblown and you think they'll be fine moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely overblown. Yeah. I mean, look, again, I did a lot of digging in last week just after the whole A.J. Brown thing, and it was something they had to deal with. It was not business as usual down there, even though Nick says it was, but it's nowhere near inside what it is on the outside. And I think that this, honestly, I really haven't been paying attention with what's just chatter that's been going out there with Jalen Hurts because, I know what I know about the whole Jalen Hurts situation, and I feel like I have a better handle on anyone in the media, to be quite frankly. So if I haven't really come out and reported anything, I just don't think it has risen to the level that I guess it sounds like you guys are talking about. As I said in my podcast, go listen to it, Uncovering the Birds. I mean, I do feel like it's, Jalen's a big part of what, how guys are doing, what's wrong with the offense. Absolutely. He's a quarterback, so that's all part of it.
So it is once again fed to us that, Jalen has having issues with some people in the locker room, but that's just how it is when you're a quarterback. Okay, you and I can get behind that. And he made sure to say, go listen to my podcast. So I made sure to listen to his very next episode, which came out on Friday. And one of the things that surprised me the most was him apologizing to Derrick Gunn and Diana Russini. And then as you're getting into, well, is this really true or not about Jalen? This is what he has to say 3 days later after that interview.
Behind the scenes, there are always little battles being waged on the football team. There are bound to be disagreements, arguments, and fights with so many different personalities in the building. It's a lot of sausage making. And the same could be said for deciding what rises to the level of needing to be reported. There's a lot of gray area, and getting sources on the record is always the objective. Eagles coach Nick Sirianni dismissed reports about Hurts because they came from anonymous sources.
When there's not a name on it, I don't put a lot of credence into that. Obviously, it's not good for me to read anything. I don't necessarily believe everything that's being written. I just don't. I've been around long enough to know that, so I don't give it a lot of credence when there's not a name. And again, just don't fall into the trap of believing everything you see.
But I believe what I hear. I'm not saying there's a full-blown fire yet, but there's some smoke in the distance. These are doing their best to mitigate its spread.
Now, I want you to tell me, between those two clips, the interview on 97.5 The Fanatic, 3 days later, he says, I don't believe Nick and I don't believe Jalen. There's something going on there, and they're trying to mitigate what's happening. That's a lot different than this is overblown, and what's happening inside the building is not what's happening outside of the building. That noise doesn't exist. And I just sit there and go, wait a minute. First of all, half of the season was covering A.J. Brown and how he was feeling. Okay? Like the entire time. And he's been shouting this for a very long time, and you and I know that. So how do we get to 97.5 The Fanatic? This is overblown. 3 days later, apologizing to Derrick Gunn, Diana Russini, and saying, yeah, there's something there. I don't know how big it is, but there's definitely smoke there. So this part of this is true. And ever since that 97.5 The Fanatic interview, I've been told by multiple people that Jeff McLane recused himself, I guess, from never going on the station again, because when his words were aired out loud, apparently a lot of people got pissed off about it. His colleagues, probably his employer, even though I can't confirm that, but he is no longer going to go on the radio station. He's just going to keep saying things on the podcast. And that's fine. And for 3 weeks, none of those things came back up again. Until this amazing, horrible Chargers game that I know you and I want to stop fucking talking about and just get to the Raiders. But then listen to Jeff McLane on his most recent postgame right here.
Tanner McKee might be able to do a better job than this guy did here, you know? Yeah, and look, I threw the question out there. It wasn't like, I'm saying this is what they should do or what they will do. But for the first time, I'm just like, okay, maybe this is something to give him a break or to send a message to Jalen, because there's other stuff happening, I know, behind the scenes that quite possibly could leave someone to believe that he's not listening.
Jesus
and then
Christ!
You look at this, the scheme and the game, the play calling, and I'm not trying to absolve Nick Sirianni and Kevin Petula and all this, and we'll get to them and the scheme and the play calling and some of the changes that were made there. But this whole notion that they only know 5 plays, it's like the playbook is large, and these guys, had Philip Rivers, who's in the news for another reason. They had him at their disposal for years. Like, they know how to run an NFL passing offense. They're just not doing it. And in fact, in this latest game, they went back to a lot of the 2021, 2022 stuff with Jalen. That really is kind of college offense type stuff. And we'll get into that some more.
What did you hear there? What did you hear there? That we went from overblown 3 games ago. We went from over-fucking-blown 3 games ago to scuffing and going, ugh, Derrick Gunn doesn't know what he's talking about. Diana Russini doesn't know what he's talking about. To tuck your fucking tail in between your legs 3 games later, and now we are at the point of, like, it is not overblown what we are hearing about Jalen Hurts. Not overblown. The spectrum of what we know about this story has now moved up from overblown to Jalen might not be listening to somebody, all the way to Derrick Gunn saying he's got this offense over a barrel. I'm not getting that phrase out of my head ever since he said that, and neither are you. And then I am putting Diana Russini in the middle of both of them because she was on this before Jeff and before Derrick Gunn, and that is what I'm saying. It's not that I disagree with Jeff's approach to reporting. I think it's a good thing that he's waiting for any sources to go on the record. That is traditional, correct reporting. I'm not knocking that at all. But I don't believe Jeff McLane understands social situations like he does facts and grilling Howie, which we love, honestly, even though some of the questions get groans like that's from everybody in the press room, okay? If we were in there, we're gonna ask a dumb question at some point. I just think this has been the beacon for a lot of people saying, oh, man, well, if Jeff McLane is saying it, like, he looks for drama everywhere. He would sniff that out and have stories left and right. Jeff McLane over the last 3 weeks is admitting he fucked up. He fucked up because that's not what is happening in the locker room. There is way more to this story. And for a person that says that he talks to Jalen's family members or mother or all of these different inner workings, I would say this is some pretty goddamn sloppy reporting in terms of like saying things on the air, reporting things a little different. And welcome to our world, Jeff. When you say words on a microphone, impromptu, you can't take them back. If you have thoughts that you write down and go, well, that's not right, and then edit it, and then I know you blame radio stations for how they cut it because Matt Gelb does the same thing, and both of you guys are pathetic when it comes to that. So, yes, I will defend my radio brothers every now and again. It's a completely different medium. If you're going on the radio, you're going on to promote something and to talk to the fan base, more than likely, to an audience that's much larger than yours, typically, and it helps you sell clicks, papers. It made me go to your podcast, Jeff, so you're a fucking asshole. I just want to say that. You're an asshole when it comes to that stuff. How dare you put your fucking nose up to Derrick Gunn, first of all, and then to the radio station that had you on to promote your shit, said nothing but glowing things about you, said your podcast was great, go check it out. Then we did, and you're the one with your pants down. It's you, Jeff. It's not the radio station clipping it. You didn't get misquoted, and that's what pisses me off. It's not the fact that, like, Jalen and all this might be happening and going through these problems. You owe it to the fan base to go like, hey, I said it was overblown on the radio, and I'm wrong. It's not overblown. But you can't do that because that'll blow up the rest of the people you're talking to, in my opinion. And if I have that wrong, Jeff, feel free to talk to me, on or off the air. But, like, this is ridiculous, man. This is egregious. You blamed a radio station for your own words, and 3 weeks later, you're basically agreeing with Derrick Gunn to varying degrees. I think that's disingenuous to everybody that you are writing to. And if you think stuff like this doesn't do damage, Kevin Patullo's house got egged. You know, like, if we've been crushing Kevin Patullo, which I'm just going to stop calling him Kevin Potato now, by the way. And I'm not saying that Kevin Patullo's a genius, and neither is Nick or AJ or any of this stuff. But to absolve Jalen of anything that is going in that locker room is egregious as a fan base as well, because we only know the public image of Jalen Hurts, and the public image of Jalen Hurts is spectacular. You think he doesn't have any flaws? You don't think he gets pissed? You don't think he has an ego? You don't think that after a Super Bowl and like Nike's giving him all this stuff? I could absolutely see some of those things. Again, it has gone to the point of he thinks he's Michael Jordan? No. We already talked about that this season. I thought Jalen was moving into his Kobe phase because that's all he gives a shit about. It's basically what I was saying on Monday. Who cares about the regular season? He wants to win championships. He thinks that's the only thing that matters. Everybody else can keep the fucking stats. I believe that. Get this kid to January, please. But this is my only caveat to all this stuff. If we find out that Jalen has been a roadblock, a major one for this offense, in one way or another, that is going to cause you and me to think a lot differently about this offseason, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? I've already said it to the Discord. I would do anything to keep 6-11 here if it means that, like, they don't like this. You've got to start weighing some of those options if that's the case. And even with that being said, I do feel like Nick and Kevin neuter what Jalen's abilities really are. I do think that is a major issue. I also think that maybe Jalen doesn't want to work through some of that right now. And it doesn't mean ever, just not right now, you know? So, like, I understand where Jeff is coming from. He's not listening to some people. Are those people important? Is it a player? Is it a coach? Because every reporter has said players and coaches. Multiple. Not just one coach. And no one's refuted that. I just want to be very clear. I guess that's the whole point of this podcast. No one has refuted that is going on. Everyone is guessing what is the degree that is happening in that locker room. And I feel as though some beat reporters are protecting their access on this, and others are taking their time to write a story about it. If you want my honest truth, because, Jesus, this just lines up again. as a Howie Roseman thing. I don't know if I like it or I don't like it. We've been to 2 Super Bowls and won one, and there's 2 titles in here. Howie knows what he's doing. Doesn't mean we have to like the up and down swings because the players certainly don't fucking like it either. I'm very curious on your thoughts. Maybe I'm overblowing this, but this is all I've been thinking about since November 21st. Why did Jeff McLane switch so quickly? I mean, it's so quickly. Jump into the Discord. I'll see you against the Raiders. Please don't fucking lose. Don't fucking lose this game.